Plaintiff Dominique White says the defendant is her older sister, and throughout her teenage years, Dominique claims the defendant verbally and physically abused her. And once she turned 15, she ran away from home. Dominique is suing her sister for an electric bill and child care fees. Defendant Teresita White says Dominique was always a problem child, and she used their mother's passing as an excuse to act out. Teresita admits that she beat Dominique at times, but insists it was only when she deserved it. And she denies owing for the electric bill because she insists she paid it every month.
Prove your case.
My sister, defendant is my older sister. I've been around Terry my entire life. My grandma raised us. Terry moved out. I moved with my sister when I was 12. She went and did housekeeping for our aunt, cooking, cleaning, etc. My sister used to get drunk, beat on me when stuff needed to go her way, or if it felt I
beat
didn't
on
do
you?
it. Yes.
What years? From what time frame?
12, 13, 14.
Beat on you about what?
Like when she get drunk and stuff didn't go her way, or she asked me to do something and I didn't do it the right way. She'll get physically, verbally abusive, all that.
Verbally or physically or both?
Both.
All right, give me an example of the physical abuse.
My name wasn't Dominique, it was Fat or that's why I ain't got no mama. I was adopted. She used to tell me all the time I was adopted. I ain't gonna never be nothing, all type of stuff like that.
She talked down to you. What about the assaults?
She used to beat on, she wouldn't never use a belt. It was her hand slapping me. She used to beat on her own kids. I'm surprised. I'm surprised her oldest daughter ain't got brain damage. She beat on her kids too.
Okay.
Terry used to come in drunk one day. She woke me up to feed her son.
What years were these? What, actual 2000 and what?
2000, we can say about 2002 to 2004.
All right. One day she came in.
Drunk. She beat on me because I did something.
What year was this?
This was like 2005.
All right, 05.
Yes.
She came in drunk, beat on you, and what?
Sent me to bed. What you mean? You know what
do I mean? I don't know. I'm asking you.
You're right. You're right. Hello.
What do I mean? I don't mean nothing. I want you to tell me what you mean.
That's what I'm saying.
All right. What do I mean? She beat on you and you went to bed.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you know what I mean. Most people, they might leave the house.
15 years old, I ran away. 15, I started running away.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? It affected me in school, getting in fights all the time, whatever like that. 16, I got locked up for fighting in school. I came home May 2009. I got released from the juvenile. Terry at the time was backstabbing my grandmother, her man, and her 3 kids. The person she has with her now also was staying there with my grandmother. At the time, her and my grandma was getting to it. My grandma only was low income. So my grandma was basically paying everything off $400. Terry was only a help when it came down to the first, when she knew my grandma had some money, and she knew my grandma paid her to get in her van to drive her everywhere she had to go. During the time,
she wasn't contributing any money?
As far as food stamps, you know what I'm saying? She'll put food in the house, because that's all she had. She wasn't working.
Gotcha.
Her man was the only person that was working. He was working when they needed him as help. At the cleaning service he was working at. Terry finally got her income taxes. She couldn't get the gas in her name because her name was already messed up.
Let me allow her to give some background, ma'am. She says you used to physically abuse her.
For one, my mother died when I was 12 years old. When I turned like 18, I moved out of my grandmother's house. I was pregnant with my daughter. And me and her father moved together or whatever. And I took in the process of helping my grandmother with Dominique, because she'd been a problem teen all her life. And I feel that she used the excuse by my mother being passed and to do what she did. She done went from juvenile to where they done brought her to court.
What was her problem before age 12?
She just used to get in trouble, go to school, pick with people. She used to be a bully to where the point she wouldn't have jumped on this girl to where her cousin stabbed her.
Starting what grade?
Starting like she was about every bit of like 9, 10 years old. She was real young when she started
fighting?
She started fighting. She was real young when she started that. And that ain't nobody fought but her.
How do you know?
Because I was around. And
you
the
were
days,
living there?
Yeah. Well, I was living down the street from my grandmother.
Okay.
Taking care of my auntie. And she used to get into fights. My grandma used to call me and be like, can you please talk to Dominique or whatever. I always used to get Dominique for my grandmother because she didn't like to listen to my grandmother. And as far as the beating part, just beating on her for no reason, yeah, I whooped her a couple of times because she didn't want to do what she's supposed to do. And yeah, she used to run away all the time, jump out the windows, anything she couldn't do or get her way, she used to be out the window.
You beat me like she said.
And I didn't beat her at all like that.
That's what you just said. You just said I did beat her. I did whoop her.
Yeah, when it was a reason.
Over me. You sound like you did. You sound violent. You sound abusive. Yeah, she sounds like she did every single thing you alleged.
She used to beat on my grandmother.
You sound violent and verbally abusive.
She used to beat on my grandmother.
You're not gonna do that in here. You can throw your head up. Yeah, you can get ignorant and ghetto if you want. Try to.
I used to whoop her for a reason. When she used to do stuff, I used to whoop her for a reason. It wasn't just constantly whoop her or none of that. Then it got to the point where she liked to lie and she liked to steal. She steal anything you have. If she was next to you, she'd steal your wallet. Trust me. And it used to get to the point we go to court with her. When she was in juvenile, we sit in the court, we waiting on her to come to court. And it just took them a long time. So I looked at my grandma, I'm like, Grandma.
Let me ask you, why do you think she was so troubled?
I don't know.
Oh, you never, if you thought enough to take her under your control and discipline her physically, you would think that you would have thought enough to find out why she was so troubled. But I guess you didn't care about that. All you cared about is whooping her when she needed a whooping. All you cared about is her in and out of juvenile and running away. It never dawned on you that maybe we should get her some help.
She was getting help.
What type of help?
She was getting help, but it
what
wasn't
type of help?
She was going to the new
You wasn't no help. That's very clear. That's very clear that you wasn't any help. Let's get to how she owes you money.
When Terry got her income taxes, her man, her 3 kids were trying to move out. She couldn't move and because she had to get the gas on in her name. She couldn't use her name.
She couldn't?
Right.
She had to come to you?
Right.
She had to come to you to put something in your
my name.
She couldn't do it herself?
No.
Didn't she have, you mentioned some man?
Her man, yes.
And he couldn't do it either?
No.
Hey, talk big about that. Let's talk so big. What happened there?
She
Throw
got
your head back and
she
do all
got it in
that
her
about
name
that.
for one because she was living
Why
there.
couldn't you pay your bill?
She got it in her name for one because she was there.
Why couldn't you pay your bill?
I couldn't get it in my name because I let my auntie use my name and she ran up my bill.
Go ahead.
That's why.
So,
she had to put it in your name,
right.
and she was to pay it.
On time.
And what happened?
So one day I was over to Terry's house and I saw one of the bills that said past due. So I went and got it cut off. She actually called me cussing me out. I'm grown. I can get it back on if I want to.
Hold on.
That's why you
about
paying
your
the bill.
Yeah. She cursed you about
the
past due bill that she had in your name?
Right. On his voicemail, she left, I'm grown. That's why you stuck paying the bill. I get my cut back on if I want to. So therefore, she called my granddad. Come on, Granddad, can you answer her? Can she get it cut back on? No, because at first it was about my niece and nephew. That's who I was worried about. Terry wasn't my problem, you know what I'm saying? Because I felt that she would pay it. Now with her man working, we got a man that's working, so of course y'all better.
So what ultimately happened? You cut it off?
Yes, I cut it off.
You cut it off voluntarily. And how much is the remaining balance?
The remaining balance of the bill is $530.
Ma'am, what do you say?
I said that she called me and she said, she asked me for some money. And I said, the first time I said, Dominique, I didn't have no money or whatever. And she was like, well, I'm gonna mess with your gas and lights because you won't give me no money. So that's why I called my grandfather and I asked him if he could talk to her about it because my kid's there. And then my granddad was like, well, see what you could come up with or whatever. And I talked to her. So I went and borrowed the $50 and I told my granddad, I said, can you come and get this $50 and give it to Dominique so she won't mess with my lights and gas? So then he gave it to her. So a couple weeks passed by, she needed some more money. She called me again and asked me for some money. I said, Dominique, I don't have no money.
Hold on, I don't know what she's talking about, but let her talk, and at some point, I'm sure she's gonna get to this electric bill.
Yeah, a couple weeks ago, I said, Dominique, I don't have no money. So then that's when she was like, oh, all right, Terry, and hung up. And then DTE came out there and turned off my gas and lights. But before they did it, I had went outside or whatever, and I was like, what y'all doing or whatever? And he was like, we here to turn off the electricity and the gas. And I was like, why? I just paid the bill or whatever. He was like, it's not due to non-payment. It's due to a request to be cut off by Dominique White. And I was like, okay, it was nothing I could do.
So it was up to date?
Yeah.
It was never past due?
No.
Okay, ma'am?
It was past due. And
let's see.
The money thing she's talking about.
Account balance.
Here go the rest of them right now.
I was on a payment plan, Your Honor, for $229 a month, and I had just paid it.
And you were never overdue?
No, I was never overdue. And when I paid my payment plan, I asked him.
Circleware said she was overdue.
I asked him, can I get on the payment plan?
Circleware said she was overdue. Give her the other.
I asked him, can I be put on the payment plan because I was low income or whatever.
All that is beautiful. And we're going to see. We're going to see exactly what happened right here. Let you have some evidence that you want to show.
And she went down. She paid. That's what she paid.
Ma'am, you have something that says overdue?
It say past due right there.
Boom. Past due. What happened to your payment plan because it was past due?
My payment plan wasn't past due.
Turn it to her.
Yeah, let me see that.
You see where it's circled and it says past due?
Okay, this was past due right
yeah,
here,
that's
and
why
I got
she
put
can
on the
turn your
payment
bill
plan.
off at any time that it's
that ain't why
past
she
due.
did it.
You're risking her credit because you have none. You couldn't even afford your own lights when she had them put in her name. You couldn't even pay them, and now you're mad because she turned it off. She should have turned
mad.
it off.
She mad.
You were past due. Now the way you talking, you mad. She's
No,
been
I ain't
very
mad.
calm and professional. You've been very loud and ghetto. So let's get to the child care money. Yeah. Let's move on to the child care money you're
That's
suing
where she's
for.
talking about the $50. Now,
Tell me about the child care money. Start from the beginning, how she owes you for child care. What happened?
During the time that the bill, we agreed on the bill, the DTE, I also came into child care. She wanted to go to work first because she was not working, so she had to go to work first to keep her food stamps going. In order to do work first, she needed a child care provider, which the state would pay me for watching her kids. I never watched her kids. So she was lying to me, telling me that it ain't came through, we got denied, it was all a whole bunch of little other stuff. So that's when it came to me calling her, asking her for some money because therefore I supposed to be getting some money. She was lying to me, telling me I wasn't. During the time, papers was coming in.
Getting some money for what?
The child care, me watching her kids.
You were watching?
No, I wasn't watching them.
Well, how are you going to get money for...
Because she told me she didn't need me to watch them no more. When we put the papers out, she told me that.
Hold on, ma'am, slow down. You wanted money from the state.
For watching her kids.
But you weren't really watching them.
What she told me that they said I couldn't do it.
So why do you want money for something you didn't do?
Because she was getting it. She lied to me and told me that it didn't go through and it said I couldn't do it. But instead,
so
it was
you're saying
still
she
coming
committed
through.
fraud?
Yes.
And so you want to be a part of that fraud?
No. Can I rephrase?
You want to go to jail too?
No, let me rephrase this. Dominique,
what, you want side by side cell? Let me know. I'll call when I call the police. I'll tell them how you want to go.
Can I rephrase that? Can I rephrase that?
You want the paddy wagon? What do you want? Which one you want? You want handcuffs?
Neither one, because I wasn't in the wrong, sir.
All right, ma'am, let me explain to you. If you are alleging that she defrauded the state, and she should have shared some of that fraudulent money with you. You are requesting to be an accomplice to a crime.
That's not what I'm saying, sir.
What are you saying then? Let's go over this again. Are you alleging that she got money from the state fraudulently?
That's how it's going, yes. But I was supposed to...
Hold on. She got money from the state fraudulently for you keeping her kids.
Right.
Did you keep her kids?
No. But
man, I don't have to tell you anymore. If you don't understand, I'll wait till the police explain it to you. If you don't understand, I'm not going to sit here and go back and forth with you just because you don't understand that if she committed fraud in your name and now you want to be a part of the fraud for something you didn't do, that you are asking to be an accomplice to the crime that she committed. I'll grant you $530 for your electric bill. Have a good day, ma'am.
Thank you. Hello.
Hi, Judge Mathis. I'm Michael. I loaned my friend money. He is from Asia and his plans to move back. If he leaves the country without repaying me, is there anything I can do?
Unfortunately, Michael, if he leaves before you have the opportunity to have him served with the complaint, you will not be able to proceed. My advice, Michael, get down to the courthouse as soon as possible and file your case before he skips the country.